Hello, everyone. I hope that everyone is feeling well. I know with these new times and these new standards of living during this crisis, I hope that everyone is doing okay. That's how we'll start this speech off. So I hope everyone's doing all right. Um, but on a different note, I am presenting a informational speech on tapping into the metacognition of students. I recently did a project about metacognition in one of my prior classes. It was actually Education 306. Some of you probably already taken it as education majors here at Bob Jones University. But basically, I learned that metacognition is how students think about thinking. And I will go into more detail about that as we continue. But the reason why I chose this topic is because as teachers, we are probably one of the most valuable assets in the country, if not the country, the world, because we are responsible for molding the future. We're responsible for teaching the youth various topics and various subjects that they might be interested in and maybe pursue professionally as they become older. So teachers are essentially the foundation of the future, and I think we should strive to build a brighter and better future by teaching students how they think and what they're thinking about and put importance on that. It's important for them to know the power that they have. So metacognition, according to Merriam-Webster, metacognition is defined as awareness or analysis of one's own learning or thinking process. For example, if any of us, well, I'm pretty sure some of us are planning to teach math, but a lot of students, myself included, if I have a math problem, I can use some of the prior knowledge I had before. So if I know that 10 times 2 is 20, then 10 times 3 must be 30 because of the adding of 10. It just, metacognition helps us, kind of learn what we already know and combine the two together with prior knowledge and new knowledge. And you can use this at any grade level. You can use it at elementary level, middle school level, high school level, and even the college level. And I'll give you some examples on how. But before we do that, I think it's important to remember some of the greatest teachers that we've known in history and what they think about metacognition. And one person I think we all have heard of at least once is Socrates. And Socrates once said, "I can't teach anybody anything. I can only make them think." So that's something to think about, as far as metacognition. As teachers, we are supposed to be teachers of literacy. No matter the subject, no matter the topic, or the situation, us as teachers are supposed to be able to make sure our students can comprehend what is being read and all the instructions that we are presenting to them, make sure they understand vocabulary that's required of them to complete their assignments, whether it be in science class, math class, social studies class. All those classes require students to read a certain amount and know a certain amount of vocabulary to understand how to do the work. So in helping in that type of literacy, you can use things like graphic organizers, which when I was in school, we used like web charts or Venn diagrams or a T-chart or think alouds. All of these are examples of how we can get students to think on their own and how we can get students to use their creativity, their prior knowledge, and to combine what they already know with what they do know. Kind of that's what metacognition is. You think about thinking, like, how do I understand this? How do I fit into this problem? So using a web chart can help a student think about, okay, who's the main character, what's important, what to look out for about this main character, or what to look out for with this plot. Venn diagrams are good for students to think about what makes things alike or different, or what makes them the same. And of course, think alouds, you kind of use whatever's in your brain at the moment, say it out loud, and kind of work together with other people to see how it works. That's at least in the classroom setting. I think about when I was in school, one way I would use my metacognition was to put myself in the position of the characters in the books I would read. That is a strategy and a tool that we can have students use so they can tap into their metacognition and kind of see where they fit in the world. And once students realize where they fit in the world or where they see themselves positioned in the world, then they can kind of, trigger towards what they're interested in, what they can make a difference in, what they like, what they enjoy, what they're passionate about. And then we can get to that future building I was talking about earlier. And even outside of the classroom, metacognition helps in social settings. A big part of metacognition is self-awareness. Self-awareness is defined as conscious knowledge of one's own character, feelings, motives, and desires, according to the Oxford Dictionary. As a middle school education major, I know those are pivotal years for the youth as they're going through a multitude of things, whether it be their body changes with puberty, the social settings that they have with their friends, with popularity scales, or maybe even their family dynamics. Maybe there may be some changes in the home. Maybe mom and dad got a different job, or they had to relocate, or maybe there's a split up in the works. Who knows? These students have a lot going on, and metacognition helps them understand where they fit or how they can deal with that situation by understanding how they can think about or think through situations. And speaking of thinking about and thinking through, as teachers, we have to create safe environments so those students can feel free to think and feel free to have a community of equality, friendship, and teamwork with others. And having metacognition aids in that process as all students are able to think freely, work together, share thoughts and ideas that they may not have thought of before until they spoke with another student. So peer and partner reading is a good example to increase communication, ideas, and awareness in the classroom. It can also build, like I mentioned before, community and friendships and teamwork. All that's important when you're in a classroom of kids who are trying to reach a common goal. And I will leave with this. There are 4 metacognitive strategies that we can try to implement in the classroom. Well, more than 4 actually. There's 5. 1, you can teach students that their brains are like a muscle. You exercise your muscle, it gets stronger. You can give students practice in recognizing what they don't understand. So whatever a student's having a problem with, make sure you expose that to that student more than once so they can understand eventually why I don't understand this. They can figure out how I can understand this. A lot of metacognition is, especially with students, is for them not to get down on themselves, but to learn how can I think my way through understanding this. And then, of course, we can provide reflection and free feedback for some of the assignments they complete, which allow them to kind of place in their strategic toolbox or their thinking toolbox and how I can do this assignment differently, or how can I do an assignment similar. Students should keep journals so they can kind of keep a log of what they learned that day, keep a log of what happened that day, or keep a log of exciting moments, so they can either attach that memory to some class material or attach that memory to something else that'll help them. And of course, the final thing that we all teachers can use is essay questions and multiple choice. These things are very pivotal on exams and tests, which you can make the students actually think their way through their problems and solve it. This is also helpful in and outside the classroom. So in conclusion, it is paramount for teachers to have into their students' metacognition to increase their self-awareness and everything they need to understand the world around them. And we can provide information for them, and we can make the world better by being the best teachers possible, making the best students. Thank you.